Welcome back everybody, this is Grace, and today I'm doing a Yulgar only quest review. Now this is the Grenwog 2024 quest, so if it's not the Grenwog season and you don't have the painting, of course you won't be able to access it. Now the purpose of Yulgar only videos is generally to pretty much complete gear in super basic gear that you can get from complete quests, with super basic gear that you can get from accessible shops. For this quest, for example, we're going to be running Fairy Godmother as our pet the whole way, and eat the defensive test armor and the retro flower armor as needed. And we've got a simple wind weapon and earth weapon from Yulgar's shop, as well as the Iron Thorn shield from Adder and the Cyclone shield from Yulgar. Shouldn't be anything too crazy going on, although I'll admit, I didn't know there were dark monsters in this quest, so I might have to go and grab some other elemental gear. But anyways, basic idea is we're going to be killing these monsters in a very simple manner, without much hassle, and when we get to the boss, I will explain the mechanics and show you a pretty foolproof way to take him down. Alright, let's get into it. And if I die to this dark monster because I have no dark gear, I'll go and grab some new dark gear, and we'll jump back to the start. Okay, so we're back, and this is the boss we're going to be fighting, the Frenzied Guardian. Now, he kind of has a lot going on, but most of his mechanics you don't have to pay attention to. So the first big thing is he doesn't have freedom. There's a lot of ways to stun lock him. You can totally do that. We're not going to be going for it in this video, but many good options. Now, the main thing is, if you hit him with any of these three elements, fire, water, or earth, he does something special. So Earth increases his damage cap, both the damage and the clawback, but it also increases his MRM and his BTH. Water lowers his strength by basically 1/11th or 1/10th. No, sorry, 1/25th of the total. so it'll take 25 hits to get to 0 strength. But it also gives him celerity, and that celerity chance ramps up depending on how low his strength is, and eventually can give him 2 turns of celerity. And the fire will make him deal fire damage and deal double damage. Assuming you're protecting with the fire armor, it'll still deal double damage, so that's what you really don't want to hit with. We are simply going to be hitting him down with a wind weapon. And you might notice my stats, I believe I mentioned it at the beginning, but we're just doing endurance and strength. Nothing too complicated. This boss isn't too hard if you just take it slow. I do suspect, though I might be tripping balls, but I think the retro flower armor only has 1 attack, and it's supposed to have 2, because it does really low damage. So I know this is Yulgar only, but I'm going to switch into the Neko armor for a minute here. Actually, I'll do that in a couple turns, but the main thing you have to do is, if you're not hitting with fire, earth, or water, is you have to watch out for his SP attack, because that automatically has fire hits, and it will inflict an earth burn, a fire burn on you. So, we'll see, he also inflicts bleed on his basic attacks, but you don't really have to worry about it. But you'll see a fire laser does a lot more damage, and inflicts a power 12.5 burn on you. So you're pretty much, most of the time, unless you have a fire, earth, compression armor, you're going to want to be maining a fire defensive misc in your earth armor. There's another, and you'll take a lot of damage from the fire burn. So, I don't, one thing is, if you're at an FO armor, like this one, and it has, say, 100 fire resistance, you're going to be taking absolutely huge damage. So if you switch to an FD armor, like bulk, and with slightly lower fire resistance, you'll be taking a lot less of that burn damage. So I would not recommend going in with retro flower armor, of course. But I am curious, because I think retro flower armor is only doing half the damage it's supposed to. But anyways, we're going to be using a fire defensive misc to mitigate that burn damage. And of course, if you had 250 more stat points, you can invest them in charisma or luck. Luck might cleanse the burn oftentimes. Charisma would give you greater healing and the ability to use guests at awesome efficiency. But for now, we're going to see if we can just take this guy on with a couple of potions and normal damage strategy. So I'll count the potions I'll use. I only have 9. Don't think we should need more than that. But I'll mute the audio, speed up the clip, and we'll see how this goes. So again, ideally, you want an armor with relatively low fire resistance. But if not, no big deal, you can make it work. Okay, and so there we go. Honestly, the kill was a little trickier than I thought it would be. We did end up using 7 of those health potions to get through the fight. But this method will work, and it probably won't work if you're a mage, because your attacks do a lot less damage. But on a ranger, since his burn saving throw is strength versus player dexterity, you'll resist those burns a lot more, and of course, if you have luck or charisma, or another stat, you'll have a lot more power going on in your character than I did. Also, you can use celerity and something like necromancer to cleanse that burn, which is a very strong strategy, and I'd highly recommend it. With that being said, though, we are going to move into a fire armor only strategy version, where we take on the Frenzied Guardian and kill him in a fire armor, dealing fire damage, and see how that kill goes up next. I will get back to the boss and show you that method. Okay, so we're back, and this kill is going to be exactly the same stat line, but this time we're going to be forcing the boss to only deal fire damage. Now, the goal here is that because the boss is only doing fire damage, We won't take any unexpected burn damage, unexpected attack damage. We'll be fully defensive against it the whole time. That being said, we are downgrading to a neutral armor, and we only have 2 health potions, so we'll have to see how this goes, but I suspect it will actually perform equal to or about the same, or even better, than the FD Earth armor with bad fire resistance. So, the method's going to be very simple. I'll just attack every turn, and it occurs to me actually that if I miss the boss with a fire weapon, I will take full earth damage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call the Psycho Fiend guest to give me some extra earth hits. And I could even use the skill for the defense loss, or some extra fire hits. So let's just see if this is going to be reliable for fire damage. The guest is only 1 hit. Okay. Okay, we're going to use the skill this time because it's multi-hit and it applies defense loss. So we should be good here. Yeah, okay, we should be good here to hit, but I might have to use the skill every 6 turns just to make it a little more safe. But you can see we're taking pretty low damage from the boss's attack, pretty low damage from the burn, even though the burn is actually 1.5 times stronger when you improve it with fire. So if you hit the boss with fire, both the burn and the bleed will deal higher damage. But you don't really need to worry about it most of the time. It's just kind of like a little bit extra. So just be aware of that. If you hit him with fire, he'll do a little higher damage, but really only a little. But yeah, with that being said, I'm going to reset the defense loss. If you were in a fire armor that wasn't 1 hit, you wouldn't have to worry about this. But because I'm only having 1 hit on my player and 1 hit on my guest with 0 charisma, I'm just being extra careful so I don't die to RNG. But yeah, with that being said, let's see how this kill goes. I'll speed it up. Okay, so I cut it a little close there, and if you were watching me flick over the boss's profile like this, and it was kind of giving you eyesores, sorry about that. It looked like the boss was giving itself berserk right before every attack, but I couldn't catch it on camera. Like you saw the blood icon pop up on it, I think that's what it was. But so we did end up the fight lower HP with the fire setup. But again, we don't have our full stats invested, and this time we didn't drink any potions, so I'm actually going to have to go out on a limb and say the fire setup is better. You take a lot less damage, unless of course you have a fire earth compression armor. Even though the attacks deal double their base damage and the burn is 1.5 times stronger, you will be better off only doing fire a lot of the time. Again, that fire misc is very important. You can get the Heroic Titan one from Ballyhoo's contests shop. But aside from that, that should be it. Now the next up recordings are all the testing I was doing, so if you're not interested in the testing and the behind the scenes, feel free to skip on by, and I'll see you guys later. If you are, it's there for you. Have a great day, and spread some peace and love. And I can't remember if I remembered to record this section, but here are the item rewards. Got the Grenwog 2024 painting, beautiful art of Hans being sad, which I love. And then we've got the 2 spells, the Petrifying and the Windswept Curse Gaze. Both of these are just your basic stun spells, Intellect versus Endurance saving throw, 50% save. But if they are under the opposite, so if you petrify something, Windswept will instead get a 20% damage boost, and vice versa. If you Windsweep, Petrify will get a damage boost. The interesting thing here is the weapon, which is a neon green axe, which I've come to enjoy actually. When I first saw it I wasn't sure, but now I like it. What this does is it toggles to basically do half damage and auto hit, and pay about 200 or a little more SP to inflict Petrify. Definitely a good Petrify source, although it was bugged on release of course, but should be working by the time you watch this. And definitely an option for warriors who want a reliable stun method on their account. There we go. Okay, so we're back at the Frenzied Grenwog, and we're going to be testing some strategies. Now, the Frenzied Grenwog has a couple of mechanics, but the main thing I want to figure out is how much can you reduce strength with water damage, and how much does a single hit or multiple hits of earth or water damage change its damage cap, change its MRM, and does one hit versus many hits change it, or is it just a, if hit with earth, at least once do this, if it was water, at least once do this. So with that being said, I've got Tiger Luna Neko as an FD armor with fire earth compression, so it should lead to pretty smooth sailing, and I do have Grakma Harbinger as a fire defensive misc if I do end up needing that. But the first thing I'm actually going to do is use Purple Rain. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to get a baseline damage test for several hits of his earth damage, his P attack, and his what am I trying to say? His earth attack versus his fire attack when it's imbued. And so that's of course why we've got the fire bow. We're going to be dealing fire damage. And yeah, let's just get into it. Do some data collection. Okay, so I finished collecting my data, and while it's not super definitive, I only did 10 samples with no lucky strikes for each attack, the fire versus the earth. What I found was that the average damage we took in FD was about 230, and for the fire damage. And the earth damage, if you'll take a guess, you might have noticed, but it's way lower, about 115. The numbers come out to exactly 1/2, but given that it's only 10 data samples, I don't want to make that assumption. But I will propose that you take about half as much damage in an earth armor than in a fire armor against this guy's attacks. I've also calculated the numbers to FO and whatnot, and so you can look at my boss damage spreadsheet if you're really interested. But so in conclusion, if you attack with fire, you'll take twice as much damage, even if you're in the right resistances. However, the exception for this is the SP attack. Because the boss has a 2-element SP attack, it's kind of a bitch to defend against. So I would say that if you hit him with fire on the turn right before he's about to use the SP attack, his SP attack will be whole fire, and you can defend against that more easily than you can the mixed element damage. Particularly if you're not in an armor like Tiger Luna Neko, where the fire resistance is so low. If you're in something like, I don't know, Bulk, where the fire resistance is 70, you'll be taking way more fire damage than you would be earth damage, so you'd be better off going to a pure fire armor, hitting him with fire, and then managing your damage intake that way by only defending against one element at a time. So the next thing I have to test is what water does to this guy, and what earth does to this guy. So I accidentally hit him, I think, only once with earth. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to drink potions, and I'm going to use Neko Wafer as a test wafer. I don't know, I don't care, honestly. But this guy, he has an RNG chance of 1 hit or 4 hits. So on the 1 hit, we'll see how much change there is, and on the 4 hits, we'll also see how much change there is. And let's see, do I have a pet accuracy misc anywhere? I don't, but I'm going to do Grakma Harbinger, make sure we're not Berserk, and then I'm going to continue drinking potions. Okay, so miss, but we'll see what happens when he starts hitting. But the reason I'm drinking potions is just a way to stall my turn without doing damage, because I don't want to kill him. I want to do this all in one data testing session, if possible. Okay, so we hit him 1 time, and the clawback went up by 0.1, and the damage cap went up by about 15. Okay, let's see, and Grakma Harbinger will protect me from the fire damage, so I'm not concerned about that. We missed him again. Alright, this guy's cheeks, apparently. Erase sets you ablaze. Yep. Not concerned. This guy is weirdly inaccurate. Oh, I don't have charisma. That's why. I forgot to train charisma. No big deal. It'll just take a little bit longer to get the data. Oh, 4 hits. Awesome. So this will be perfect. And we see that the clawback only went up by 0.1% and again by 15 to 20. Yeah, it looks like 24 exactly. Let's actually, one thing I want to do is have both the pet and the player hit and see if that changes it. So let's see if that happens here. So I hit him twice. My pet missed him, so not good data. But again, it went up by 1. Let's see. I think I have. If I have another earth pet. No, I don't. Okay. Let's try it again just to be super sure. Okay. This pet is really not clutching up. Start at 55 and we hit him on both pet and player. Let's see if it goes up to 56 or to 57. Okay, so 0.56. So we know that no matter how many times you hit him with earth, the change is the same amount. So what I've got to figure out now is a way to do water damage to him and see if we can do the same thing for water. Will he go up by the hits taken? Or will he lose strength by the hits taken? Or will he lose strength one at a time? Also, I want to see how high this clawback can go. I think it goes up to 0.75. Minus 11 strength. Okay. And did he get celerity there? Let's see. But it gains bursts of speed. Interesting, I didn't see it gain celerity. Maybe I'm tripping. Also, I may not have mentioned this outright, I can't remember, but the, so 22, this guy has a 3-hit attack, that's what I'm waiting for. But every time you hit him with Earth, his MRM also goes up, so. Oh, not a lucky strike, come on now. This guy doesn't have the HP to be tanking this type of thing. Okay, well, 1 hit again, brought 11 strength, let's see. You know what? Did they change it so that the 2 different modes are the 2 different hit types? Wonder if they did that. And also, I'm actually going to toggle on the weapon for this so that it's auto hit and it does about half as much damage. So we got 2 hits, but we only got 11 water resistance. Okay. So again, the hit count doesn't seem to matter for the water either. So if you hit him with water at all, or if you hit him with water 15 times, it'll be the same strength loss both times. Yeah, I think, so unfortunately, I definitely damaged this guy too much to see if we'll be able to get his clawback all the way up to 0.75, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. Like, 600 damage cap with 0.6 clawback, like, you're doing big damage there, so. And this must have been from 0.5 to 0.62, that was 12 earth hits that got his damage cap up from about 300 to about 600. So I guess that's all the information we really need. Fire changes all his attacks, but not burns. Oh, but there is one thing I wanted to try. Shenya form. I wanted to do prismatic burn and see if that triggered the fire attack, but I don't know how to trigger it without killing him. Let's use a melee weapon, I guess, and Ring of Precision to lower my damage. Anything else I can do? Probably not. Let's see. Well, let's see if this kills him. Not. If it does, no big deal. Oh, it doesn't kill him. He defies the rainbow attack. Are you serious? Wasn't meant to be, I guess. Oh well. But we'll check out Prismatic Burn another time. I'll have a clip for that. Alright, so we're back again. And I think this time I'll just tank 1 hit in Shenya. I'm not really too concerned about it. Let's do I have any status potency I need? Oh, I think it's a charisma save. Or main stat versus charisma. Either way. Shouldn't be too bad to hit this. Just use Ring of Precision to make sure as many hits as possible hit. Purifying Rainbow Flames. Awesome. So, I'm led to believe he should fully do fire damage now. Unlike the fire burn, not triggering it, for some reason Prismatic Burn does trigger the effects. Oh, well I just hit him with fire, so I ruined the test. But anyways, his damage cap has not changed, and he hasn't lowered his strength at all. So before I forget, let me do a Purple Rain here, so I can double his HP bar effectively. And we're going to go back to Gemini, and we are going to be actually hitting him with the Earth Weapon again, and just for funsies, seeing exactly how high we can get his damage cap, and exactly how low we can get his strength with these 2 items. So with that being said, I will speed up the clip, and we'll see what happens at the end. And we'll also see if the Prismer does anything this turn. Well, I guess now that I'm hitting him with all this stuff, it won't be able to tell, but... yeah, let me turn off this, let me turn off that. Take a little less damage that way. Ring of Precision, awesome. Alright. Okay, so he's about to die on the next turn, unfortunately. But we did hit a cap at strength at -275, which is in fact 25 water hits, 25 times 11, -275. And I assume we'd hit a cap at Earth. Let's see if it goes. Oh no, he died. Okay. I assume the cap at Earth would also be 25 hits, so 75% damage cap and about 100,000 you could hit through. So just interesting to know the limits. Also, the report that dot damage can trigger his passive effects is wrong. The fire burn in the last attempt I didn't trigger his fire attack, and the prismatic burn in this attempt didn't trigger earth, water, or fire. So dot damage does not affect his mechanics. Whereas only player pet and guest attacks, or probably like spells and what all that jazz do too, but dot effects don't do it. But player pet and guest do. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. It is capped at 25 inflictions for earth and water, but I don't really see how you'd hit that in a normal situation. I was using a melee weapon and a pet without charisma, and I used Purple Rain to double his HP bar, but I still killed him before I hit the cap on both of them. So yeah, not really that you'll ever hit the cap, but if you wanted to, that's how you do it. So I think that's all the data collection I need, and now I can go actually math out those methods that I showed you at the beginning of the video. Awesome. In that case, I'll see you guys later. Have a great day. Spread some peace and love, and bye-bye.